I'm going to just handle a couple of questions I've got from some property investors after yesterday's wonderful property group. We had a great guest speaker, Danny Inman, and one of the great aspects he's recently found was the way to use social media to increase the deals that come his way and also investors. So here's the first question. I'm just going to read it here. Someone's just asked me that they've done their property education. They've had many challenges that they've had. They live, in a very wealthy place. They know that up north in the UK or in Wales, you can get better priced properties. So, and they know that the numbers work better, but they have children. So they're asking, what should they do? So I have a philosophy about this. I always think your happiness with your family and your friends is more important than the return on investment. So in general, unless you've got terrible property, you can always make property work. I'll give you an example. I invest up and down the country, as many of you know, but also one of my areas is actually in London. And yes, the rental yield is not as fantastic as, say, up north. So in my area, a 400K house, so that's quite expensive to a lot of property investors, will bring me as a multi-let, which means like a student place, it will bring me in the region of £2,000 minimum a month, right? So that's 24,000 a year. Well, if I had that same property up in the north, that 400K would be actually equivalent to 4 properties, and I would probably get let me see, 1,200, 2,400, 4,800 a month. So you can see that I would increase the income just by having my money working harder up north. However, to get up north for me, it's like a 3-4 hour drive, and that would have impact on my family and social life. And so it's not worth me going up there. I'd rather have my own income down here, which is half the amount, so that's half, but I have an easier, a more stress-free, if you like, life, not headed for any bad karma in terms of relationships. Now, here's the upside of this. The appreciation in my area is much higher than up north. So refinancing and getting my money out after a year to 3 years is much better. So for me, if I could, I would try and invest as close to me as I can afford. The question was also, they had an offer accepted on a great HMO, but they were gazumped. So how can they also stop gazumping? All right, you can't stop gazumping. I'm sorry. I've been gazumped many times. And by crazy things, like investors would bring their children along and say that they're buying a family home for themselves and their family. And I know very well that they're investors, but the sellers said, no, they're a family. There's not much I can do. I've even tried to offer more money, but it just doesn't work. So I'm sorry, if you're going to be gazumped, you're going to be gazumped. You could, if you wanted to, because the person writing in actually has a family, they could use those tactics, but that's how you feel about doing those things. Or as some of the wealth coach, scam coach, no, wealth coaches, I don't know what they are, would say, oh yeah, you could bend the truth a little. Anyway, that's up to you. Yeah, so that's something you can do. My other option, which I use quite a lot, because I know the returns are better up north, is that I actually have a team that will buy properties up north. I make less money, but again, I'm not so stressed because I'm time poor. So if you're happy to put up the money, and by the way, we do that for you, if you're watching this, we're very happy to invest your money with us, and we'll pay you an interest, a minimum amount of, say, 6% on the capital that you send us. So, and by the way, the percentages depends on the amount that is lent to us and how long we have it for. So most people want short-term angel investments, and we can't pay so much because then we have to work with the money, and we have to make it work much harder and replace it. But if you have a longer term investments with us, we can pay you a little bit more. All right, so they're time poor, they're restricted in location. I think I've answered it. They have some equity. They feel that buying in their area goes against their training. Yeah, if you want to get your income working harder, if you want financial freedom faster, then yes, do invest in other areas, but just think about your happiness. You see, financial freedom is more than just finance, it's also happiness. And if you lose your partner in the process of your ambition, you may not be so happy. All right, so that's one question. I hope that helps people. So just to recap, for me, if you've got a family and you're time poor, I would not be investing up north unless you've got friends and who are up there and you can do joint ventures. You'll make less money both ways, either by doing a joint venture or by investing locally, but it's up to you. The nice thing about joint ventures up north, if you're time poor and you just supply the finance, is that you don't have to do any hard work in that. All right, the second question I have is, let me get my mouse going here. By the way, I'm not in a good mood today. I'm in a very angry mood because this crazy person who I've helped make a lot of money, I've mentioned them before, has decided to use a television documentary about me to say that I'm using my property for a whole bunch of things that I'm not using it for, and has tried to, well, I've just got some, so I have to go to court. I hate going to court. I'll have to decimate them. All right, so the second question I've got, where is this? Here we go. There we go. The second question is, okay. So someone's buying their HMO and they would love to find investors to help fund their refurb. If you're interested, let me know. So they're after ideas. Well, in fact, tonight's workshop that I'm running with my son, Nate Chai and Simone Vincente, is about this exact area. We produce a lot of content. As some of you know, I've been in the media business for a good couple of decades and sold several media businesses, or sold my equity in those businesses. We have had customers like Microsoft and Hewlett-Packard and BMW, just some very iconic customers, and we've had some startups. So we know how to use content to help people raise finance, to help brand themselves, to get, if you like, on television, if that's your thing, or lots of kinds of interviews with you. We know how to brand you for that. And so tonight we'll be sharing about content and how you can use either Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook with the right content. Now, it's really important that you have the right content because if you don't, either it'll come over as insincere and inauthentic, or it'll just be really boring and annoy people. So that's one way. Another way is just to ask people and make it worth their while. Now, friends and family, they're likely to lend you the money without asking you for interest. Please be nice to them. If they don't lend to you, you probably haven't been nice to them in your life. So you may need to do a mindset change and start kind of being a bit more generous with your time and with helping other people. And that's something I'm always sharing with people. If people don't want to invest with you, it's probably because you aren't particularly nice and generous to other people. For example, there are people we promote a lot, and we've asked them to promote this event recently, and they've come up with lots of different excuses. And that's just told me what's going on in their heart in terms of how they're going to do their business, which tells me that they probably won't get much angel investors, no matter what they do in their particular property world. All right, guys, so I hope that helps a little bit. Do continue asking me your questions. I'll produce more property Facebook Lives answering people's questions. And if you're around, do pop over to our event tonight. It is a workshop. It starts at 6:30 prompt, so please come at 6 o'clock, because I only have 2 hours with my son to run the workshop, and there are quite a lot of exercises to help you build your property and a blueprint for your business to help you develop 6- and 7-figure businesses. Finally, one last question. Someone also asked me, how to advise people. They've got a business, they want to double their money, and I need to know their goals. So I'm always asking, what are your goals? They might say, I want to double their income. So I'll say, how much? Okay, you've told me how much it is. How long have I got to do it? How much time have you got to go on that journey? And the same with property. So what is that figure? Well, I want to be a millionaire. That figure doesn't work with me. So I normally have 3 figures that I want from people. The first figure is, what is your existing outgoings and expenditure? So that's the first figure you should go for on your journey, your financial freedom journey. The second figure is, what's the kind of life that you would like to have in terms of holidays and family? So if you like hotels, what kind of hotels? If you like to go abroad, how much is it, and how do you like to travel? The third figure is how much you want to develop and give back to society. All right, there's a wrong finger going up there. So how much do you want to give back to society, and what are you really passionate about? Like, I know a lot of property investors, they actually don't like property, but they've used it as a means to raise finance to hit the first figure, the second figure, and the third one is to actually do what they want and help and add value to the world and people they want to do. So once you've got those figures, then all I need to know is how much your deposits are in terms of property, and then I'll tell you the number of properties you need to hit those figures. Then you can work backwards and figure out, and depending on the amount of time you have and the number of contacts that you have, how long it's going to take for you to reach those figures. All right, that, guys, is the basics and foundation, if you like. You can accelerate all those strategies via a variety of means, but that's on the advanced course or broadcast. All right, bye. Got a dash, got an event to go and set up. So thank you, everyone who has tuned in.